All right, all right, all right. So check it out. We have the Jurassic Drums Volume 1. And I've already decided there is going to be a Volume 2 that's going to come out next winter. And I'm going to get started on it in January. But this one is going to be like the original Mecca. The next one will just be an add-on. So anyways, Jurassic Drums Volume 1. We have everything in here from 70s kind of disco drums. We have 808s. We have these special kind of sampled style GPT one shots. We have grooves and shakers that come in triplet 6844. We have the Jurassic Drum Park, which we'll get into in a little bit. We have the Lithium Ion, which is sweet kits from the beginning of processing moving forward. Some of them have incredible processing. You just have all this opportunity with the lithium ion kit to expand with plugins or outboard gear what's happening. I will say the lithium ion kit, all the kicks and snare drums particularly have been ran through my Neve 5057 Orbit already in Silk Blue mode. We have the Metal Degent Punk kits, which have different velocities. And then we have the Orange Green drums, which is a special library of a lot of kicks, Foley, hi-hats, whatever, from your Orange Green friends. And we have this popular kit, which is kicks, hats, snares, etc., congas. What's cool about this one is it's a lot of very popular samples that have been kind of processed further and their go-tos. I'll be in this a lot. And again, with the Zconga cow try perk orc section here, you have like congas, djembes, or djembe, sorry. I always call it the djembe, but it's djembe. Cowbells, orchestra hits, perks, triangles, just all that kind of miscellaneous stuff you're going to want to add in there. But you have all the kind of like clap, crash, hats, kicks, rims, shakers, snaps, snares, toms to just get to easily. So it's not too confusing looking at these extra things that are percussion. And then we have this really cool part where it's stem drums. And this is really why there's going to be a volume 2. Because towards the end of making all this, I was like, why don't I just grab some of the stems from songs that I've worked on, specific ones that I own all the copyright to. And you can go to this all tab where you have basically everything, or you can go by genre: country, dance pop, halftime pop, hyper pop, indie, melodic bass, metal degent or gent, punk, psytrance, 6/8. That's your 6/8 stuff right there. Swung, kind of like J Dilla, and then your like synth wavy kind of stuff. So you can kind of just really go through this and just grab something. Say you want some 6/8 kind of vibe, right? Boom. You know, it's 74 BPM. You just throw it right into the session that you're in and just start working on other elements, right? Like guitars, pianos, vocals, whatever you want. And then he's like, I don't know, I'm a drummer, so like I find it ridiculous to program drums. If I can pull a drum track that's already made or played, then that's the best way to go. Or just actually like have friends over and jam. You got country, you got vampire, you got that disco sound. A little more like Calvin Harris style on that one. More metal. Let's see, we got some kind of indie pop. Let's see what else we got. What's this one? Oh, there we go. Some swing. Anyways, just stuff to kind of get you started. So anyways, let's dive into some of these kits. We have the lithium ion, which is amazing. Let's just go through some of these. A lot of stereo information. You can see over up here. And then we have, just to show you the diversity in kicks. So let's go from that over to the orange green drums. And let's go to some of the kicks around here. Much more mono, right? And those are all kind of like next level library kits. Let's go to the popular just to keep it chill and know what we're actually looking for. You really can't go wrong with this popular kit section. If you want to get a little bit more experimental and have textures and stuff, I'd go with the lithium ion or the orange green drums. And if you really want to get crazy, go with the drum GPT one shots. Although they are pretty tame at the same time. Right? And then if you really, really want to get crazy, then, well, before we get crazy, let's just go with like, let's go do some just like 70s kits. Right, that's like your standard kind of like, or I'm sorry, 70s kits, yes. Then you got your, where is it? Metal the gent. So 127 velocity. Boom. That's just like, if I wanted to do some pop punk metal stuff, this is where I want to chill at. I even went down to 34 velocity, right? Now let's go over towards the crazy stuff. Go to Jurassic Drum Park. And we're going to go with, say this, let's go with the duck. There's something going on here, and what it is basically resampling and texturized stuff. I don't know. I'm not really going to get into all of it, but basically, if you listen closely, hear that kind of at the end of it. Well, mark my words. I'm going to tell you right now, the thump in the beginning, if you were to load this into your DAW, let's go ahead and even just do that real quick. Let's throw this guy right here. Okay. Let me zoom in. Boom, shakalaka. There we go. Well, let's take it off of this guitar amp situation right here. There we go. Okay. See all this noise over here? I'm going to exaggerate it. Okay. That's from the mass, like, kind of like production chopping that I was doing when I was doing this kind of like vinyl sampling, and I was using just a lot of records and stuff that I have made and whatnot. Here we go into what you can do with this. So if you just want the clean kick, which is clearly from a song that's like on Spotify that I've tried and true made, and I feel it's a really dope mix, boom. You're right there. Put a fade at the end. Now, if you wanted to get kind of crazy with it, what you could do is you can kind of now put some of that extra texture in here, and you can kind of just design it how you want. Maybe you want less of that. So I'll bring that down. Maybe even bring it a little closer. There you go. Now you have this kind of like grit. And to take it one step further, you can take the edge of where the pop is, which again, we're going to exaggerate it real quick. Hear that? Okay. Now we'll bring that right into the beginning of the kick. And we now get this kind of swing whipping sound into the kick. Right? Without it. Just very boom, right? Now you have this whip into the kick. And that's all built in to this entire sample, you know, and this is just one sample. There's a ton in here. Let's go to one of these. If I wanted to get super crazy, I could be like, well, I really want maybe that edge over here. Let's turn it up so we can really hear what's going on. And I actually threw this into something that has a bunch of distortion and everything. Why not? Just by accident. Let's just see what happens. Cool. A little crazy. Let's try putting it into nothing with no distortion just to hear. There we go. Okay. So we're not going to use the distortion. We're just going to use how it actually is. But remember, it came right like that. We're just going to grab the... And we're just going to layer it right in here because this one, it's a lot of high-end energy, which is nice. Crunchy, but that's a little more kind of gritty, little Millennium style stuff there. So let's layer that in too. Boom. Take it out. Oh, listen to that. That's kind of like your straight like pop, like if I'm making a clean pop record, but if I want some grit on there, I'll just pop this in. Especially if it's like a Tate McRae record, something that has a little bit more just like spatial awareness in their kicks. Anyways, we just made an insane kick drum, in my opinion. You know, and then obviously you'd probably want to be smart about taking this and just cleaning that up, right? Now, let me show you just one other way that you could use this. We can actually make a drum rack, and you can do this in any DAW, right? But I'm going to go ahead and plop this in, right? I'm going to open it all the way to the edge here and watch. You can almost get a rhythm out of the sample if you let it kind of just do its own weird thing. So check it. And then see how you kind of get that rhythm? And then maybe I would warp it and I would even bring it in a little bit if I wanted to get a little crazier. And you get this like breathing effect. Right? And if you didn't have that and you just ended it here, there we go. That's a better way to do it. It's like putza, putza, putza. It's just, I'm not going to use it very often, but I have accidentally thrown the stuff that's in this Jurassic drums, Jurassic Park area into a sampler in a certain section and just started playing around with it. And I got some really cool, unique textures. So I'm going to be honest. I feel like playing around with the Jurassic Drum Park is going to be more so like kind of expert mode, just like you're gonna get into the weeds of like dissecting what's inside the sample and using what's in each kind of sample to layer into the idea of what you first heard. That said, let's go through a couple more of these. So that's the Kick Ducks 10. Let's go to the Kick Artisma. And you'll hear all of these have that whip at the end because, again, I don't want to spend time taking the kick drum, reversing it, shortening it, sliding it, and just like, why do all that extra work when I can just grab the end of the audio file and move it to where I want, or just get rid of it if I don't really want a whip coming into it. So yeah, this stuff is insane. Some of it's going to be loud. and some of it's going to be pretty soft. That's loud. It's loud. Loud. A little softer. Super soft. Loud. Soft. So you have this huge dynamic range of scrolling through your kicks. And, you know, you might not know what you want in the middle of, you know, designing. You might be like, oh, I want this thing to bang, right? So I'm going to go ahead and throw this in and just let it bang like crazy, right? Let's hear that. And you're like, ooh, let's do like some kind of crazy, like Jersey. Oops, if I only knew what I was doing. Here we go. And you're like, oh yeah, I want this thing to bang. But then all of a sudden you're like, well, let me just hear what it sounds like with a straight groove, right? Something a little, and I'm going to pull this back because I don't want the whip in this particular one. And I'm just going to be like, all right, well, what if it were, not straight groove. We'll do the same groove, but what if I just wanted it more calm? You can use that kick with a nice little snare and get a really cool part out of your chorus or your verse, and maybe use a little bit of both. Maybe this is your verse and this is your chorus. Or, like I said, maybe you think that this is your chorus and then you throw this in, and maybe you already have a huge 808 or sub going on. Your track's pretty filled out already in the musical arena. And you're like, wait a second, what about tight, small drums that kind of just punch real hard? You could always turn this stuff up. And sometimes that gives it a little bit more energy than just throwing this huge monster kick when you already might have some bass going on. So anyways, I'm getting really into like a lot of theory about what's going on here, but let's get away from the kicks. Trust me, you play with Jurassic Drum Park and you know how to edit your audio, this is going to be so much fun. When you don't want to edit the audio so much, I would go with the popular stuff, honestly. Just kind of kick it around there, the 70s, the 808s, maybe the Drum GPT one shots. I'm not going to lie, you might need to know how to cut off ends and edges because it's a dirty pack. I'm just going to say that. So when I mean cutting off ends and edges, I mean like just knowing your audio file and just like your fade at the end and just paying attention to what you're actually doing. Because I honestly can't remember which ones I did and didn't do, like this kind of whip at the end and extra textures from tape machines and stuff. I just was going crazy, throwing just all these different sounds in there and like making some in Serum, making some in different outboard synths and profits and random shit. Live kits that were mic'd. Let's get into just some other snares and stuff like that. I mean, you get it. That's all the popular stuff you're going to find in a lot of areas. You can even go to rims if you want. Right? So they kick it in that popular section if you want that kind of basic stuff. If you want to go to the lithium ion arena, dirty. And yeah, you might find some stuff that's pretty like standard. Right? And then you got these huge things that are like out of this world for like an Imagine Dragons record. I ended up going with a couple because the rims were cool too. Cool. And then again, if you wanted to get out of that world and just go into, say, orange green drums, you got some really cool snares here. I'm just gonna be honest. These are from some specific places too that are just like kind of tried and true that a lot of people use and know where they are. And I just ran them through some gear and threw them into my pack. Recorded all of them and just kind of chopped them up and let some weird things happen with some of the gear. If you want to go to your 70s kits, here you go. And then if you want to go to your metal kits, here you go. Right? Down to lower velocities. If you want to go to, let's see, sorry. Oh yeah, the drum GPT. Let's go to the snares here. Again, I recorded and sourced these from a very special place too. That's like different than what you're gonna get from Splice, different what you're gonna get from like say Native Instruments or like your sample packs. I don't know, or a live drum recording. But if you do want the live drum recording, again, you have your 70s kits for that. You have your there's a lot of live recording in the Jurassic Drum Park. And in the lithium ion, there is a few. Your metal degent is clearly live recordings. And maybe some in popular. Again, this is just to have like access to a ton of different options from the most right side of the world, left side of the world of recordings and samples, and including textures and being able to pull those textures out if you don't want them. Let's go into like more of the like loopy section, and I didn't put loops, little 4-bar loops or 8-bar loops, because I think that that's kind of lame. You know, you want to make a loop or you want to go find loops, go find them, whatever. I have tracks. Okay, so like if I want like triplets, I have this entire arena to pull from. If I want a different sound, right? So, and these are just long 44-second 120 BPM. You can always change it to 150, whatever you want. 6/8 loops. So again, your 6/8 and 4/4 are I don't know why I do 4/4 triplets, but it's basically triplets. I guess in 4/4 time you just do triplets. It's boring. Not boring. I don't want to always program that stuff. I don't want to always record that stuff in. I just want it just ready to go. So boom, it's right there. And then if you also want some shakers and eggs in 4/4, I got you, bro. What else? The drum stems. We kind of went over that already. You know, you just got some. Just literally take this, throw it in to your DAW, and start having some fun. That's the whole idea of this. Let's go with like a country one. Now these are all processed and stuff, so you might get some interesting artifacts here and there. But it's a great starting point for where you want to go, and then you can always reprogram or have a live player play it later. Or honestly, I guarantee I'll probably, and I have done it before, well, I'll probably take these and I'll just use them in the track if it still fits. Like if it fits, cool. I'm not afraid to just actually use it. So let's see what this would actually sound like. So I know that this is going to be the downbeat, you know, because there's like an intro and stuff like that to the song. So you got to kind of just be like, okay, so I'm going to come in 1, 2, 3, 4. just has your fills in there. It has everything that we spent a while figuring out on another song, and you're just like, well, and sometimes when you're writing something, you want a little bit of a guideline of like, maybe I want this empty space before the chorus. And you're not going to like think of that in the moment when you're putting it all together. So kind of go into this guide of this other country song. Who cares? Just giving you guys what I've built at this point, and I'm going to be using it too, because I don't want to, if I'm in like a country session and I have the ability to produce and not just write a song, and I want to have a demo at the end of the day, or maybe a finished product if I'm lucky enough, why not just pull some drum stems from another song, use it in here, and see if it's worth keeping or revising or retracking or reprogramming. And again, you can do that with all these different, stems that I've put into this pack. So again, there's country, there's dance pop, there's halftime pop. This one's pretty cool. Let's do this one. And this is at 150, so we'll take the BPM to 150. And then boom, this song clearly would start with a lot of music with no drums in the beginning. And you might need to pull this back a little bit. Boom. So this has a build up. Probably for some dance. Nice. See? Some Skrillexy type stuff, I would say. I probably made some Skrillexy style track a while ago and I pulled it. It was called Electric Desire. And I never finished it, but it was a really cool sounding track. So I probably either went in and I grabbed it and I just bounced out all the drums, or I'm not going to lie, some of this old stuff that are from my old tracks, I went through and I just used some AI to cop out the drums for this particular instance. And to me, that's totally fine in my everyday use of how I'm going to be applying this stuff. Again, if it somehow magically works that this track sounds good enough to keep in and it is worth doing, then I'll do that. If I need to reprogram everything, cool. But at least I'm moving on from drums into the musical and songwriting elements of stuff. And again, if you don't want this quick, just kind of like move around with your drums and get past the drums so you can move on to the other parts, there is so much opportunity to design your drums using the Jurassic Drum Park, the Lithium Ion kit, the metal, the gent stuff, the 70s drum kits. The 808s in here are insane. I ran all of these 808s through my Neve Blue on Silk Blue mode. So these are insane quality 808s. I did them in every key, and of course I left them very long, so you can obviously shorten them and make whatever kind of 808 you want out of it. You throw these guys into here, and then, let's see, if I really wanted some kind of short, kind of like Taz Taylor thing, I would probably do that, and then, throw it into a sampler. Let's see. Boom. And then we'll go ahead and turn that up a little bit. And then maybe pull the sustain back. Boom. So So, and then let alone that, you have just all sorts of 808s. Some little acid 808s. A crazy grime one. And then I just threw the 808 kit in here. In case I wanted to go like old school trap with it. So yeah, I think we went through quite a bit of stuff. I mean, I guess we can go through the, let's go to the popular, let's go to some of these congas and stuff. Fire, right? Let's go to the cowbells. You get that kind of blurred lines funk stuff in here. Make a little rhythm out of some of those cowbells. Orchestra stuff. Just stuff I've used over the years. Random stuff for fillers, and then triangles. Again, make some rhythms out of that like this. And you get a really full kind of disco funk track. So that's about it. This is really cool. Oh, and we went in on toms, of course. You have a ton of toms everywhere. Just have fun with it. I'm going to be using it for like the next year. And like I said, I'm going to have a volume 2, but the volume 2 is going to be an expansion, kind of. This is going to be like the core of the pack. I'll probably expand it with some 60s drums, some 50s drums, maybe some 80s drums, 90s drums, so we kind of ultimately get down all the decades. I'm definitely going to have more stem drums. I think that's going to be a huge thing, especially for my workflow. And then, the lithium ion kit's done. That's never going to get expanded too far. Maybe some more metal kits might happen. The popular kit might have a popular 2 kit, because especially after a year, the new processing stuff will come out to make things hit different, harder, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Anyways, this is going to be a sick kit. Go grab it. And right now, we are going to also give 50% of all proceeds to Daniel Maya, Mr. Bones, DJ Good Dan, from back when I used to know the guy, the legend, the hero. This guy is my hero. He lives with osteogenesis imperfecta, and he's gone through so many surgeries. He's almost died. I can't even tell you how many times. This kid is bedridden from the day one of his life. He has an extremely, extremely difficult life. And he is my friend. I love him. I love you, bro. He makes music. He is so, his mom and his dad, his family is so incredible. They take him to go DJ places in LA, like Avalon. He's played some Insomniac events, like the EDC type stuff. Like they take him, they bring his oxygen. I mean, and he is so fragile. He can break 10 bones by moving him wrong. In fact, they eventually had to stop having nurses and surgeon assistants, from what I know, from what he's said publicly, in some of his operating rooms, and ended up having his mom there moving him because they knew how to move him better. He's a very, very rare case, a very special person. I love him dearly, and I think that he outworks almost everybody I've ever met, if straight up everybody I've ever met, due to his tenacity and the way that he just doesn't stop, and he deals with all of the psychological sides of what he goes through, as well as these physical things, eating liquids. It's just he lives a really rough life, but he is a staple of what it's like to keep going. And he has his ups and downs, and I think it's really cool that he got into music production, and he helps me and I help him, and we make songs together. We make stuff and kits like this. And I want to make sure that every sale that this has goes 50% to him during the allotted times. And I think I say that because we're going to do even more kits, and I think we're going to have more specialized ones that are like his and mine. I just really wanted to get this whole thing done in general because I knew it's something that I'm going to use and keep developing and build over the years. And I didn't have time to just like build something from scratch that's like specifically for psytrance or Latin or something like that. But those are gonna be coming, and he will be involved with those, and those will be like straight up staples that are like me and him, and he's gonna always, no matter what, forever get residuals on this. This one, just around the holidays, I'm probably gonna always promote to give him the 50% proceeds directly to him, and we're boys. He knows it, and I'm just gonna take out that 50%, throw it directly to his Venmo, and so yeah. If you guys also want to just like straight up give him money instead of me, just go ahead and give him money. I'll link him and his Venmo or whatever, and you could just straight up donate and not even get the pack if you don't want, or if you want the pack and you gave him the money directly, he can get you the pack as well. He'll just like reach out to me, tell me who you are, and I'll send it to you, whatever it is. But the easiest way is probably just go on my website, grab it, and then give him his money. And yeah, we'll probably run this, if not forever, through the holidays each time. It's just that this pack will continuously get expanded, like I said. So, I just want to be upfront about it that during the holidays it's charity, and there might be a time where it's not necessarily charity, and we'll move towards the packs that me and him build that are more specific for specific genres to be the actual charity. And those ones I'll probably even end up just hosting his stuff on there and give him even more of the percentages for a lot of those. 70%, 80%, 90%. I don't even care at this point. 100%. I just want him to do well and get some extra cash. And I don't know how to set up a GoFundMe page. So I'll probably look into that at some point when I have some time. And I also don't know how that works, where you get the money, you have to reach a certain goal before you get the money or something like that. This is a lot easier. You guys buy this pack, say it's $50. I break off $25, give it to Daniel. And if that keeps happening, hopefully 100 times, hopefully 1,000 times, then 1,000 times $25, that goes straight into his pocket. Maybe we even start upping the price on some of this stuff. Maybe it's $50, maybe whatever it takes to just like keep this going in a fun way. Give me a little bit of the cash to like, it takes me time to build these things and host the website and do all the admin and stuff. And at the same time, give him some charity where we can. That's a win-win in my opinion. I have said this multiple times and I'll keep saying it. I think that he is the biggest hero in the music community in general. There are a lot of stories that are impressive like this, but his is close to me, and it is one of the most gnarly ones. And I think that, let alone what I'm trying to do, I really wish, and I'm going to say this out loud, I wish I was bigger than I am as a DJ or a producer. I wish I was up there with the Rodney Jerkins or the Diplos or the Steve Aokis, because if that were the case, I would help him 10 times more than I can right now. And he makes really cool stuff. He's got a crazy story. He's inspiring. I've kind of said it out loud a few times. I think that some of you guys like Steve Aoki and Diplo should support him more. I don't know if you all know about him necessarily. You've definitely taken pictures with him at your shows. I know a lot of people give you guys USBs and stuff, but when this kid gives you USB, please listen to it and like show some support. Like, how cool would it be just in general for like the population of EDC to see y'all collaborate on a song together and follow his journey and have him come up on stage, on main stage, and just inspire people. That's what music's all about at the end of the day too. And he makes dope stuff. I've made dope stuff with him. I think at a certain point too, yes, of course it's about the music and choosing what's the coolest thing to put out, sure, but it's also like, what's the backstory? What's the politics on it? What's the inspiration? And Mr. Bones has it. So hopefully this helps gets his name out there even more, and hopefully it brings some cash to him. And I love you, buddy. Cheers. Oh, I'll probably should say where to get it. www.teddymarquee